I was depressed in architecture school. You guys might be used to this chirpy, energetic, enthusiastic side of me which you've always seen on screen. So it might come as a bit of a surprise when I tell you that in architecture school, I was really depressed. So it actually all started when I was in high school. I used to be really fat and awkward, and I used to just feel out of place. I did not feel like I fit in. Also, it was a time when people constantly commented on my weight, whether it was my teachers, whether it was other students, whether it was my own friends, or whether it was back home. So I think that is probably the time it all started. I started to become a very shy, underconfident, reserved person. And this is true especially for social situations. I just did not know how to react. I was sort of scared of being made fun of, so I usually just stayed quiet. And I guess over the years, my default just became sad. Okay, jump to 2013, I took admission in architecture school. Now, of course, the majority of you already know, but for those who don't, architecture school is very exhaustive. You are overworked, you are sleepless, you do all-nighters. Basically, there's quite a lot of work, not enough time, and you are really bad at managing. Like, everybody's just bad. And to be able to work all night, it's just common practice to just be caffeinated up to your neck and have a really bad diet because you don't have time to eat right. Now, as I told you, I was already somebody who was quite sad. And now add to that anxiety and overthinking. So basically, when I entered architecture school, I was already in a bad place. As the years progressed, first, second, things happened in my personal life that just made me more and more sad, more and more depressed. So it became so much that half of my third year, I just spent intoxicated. Like half the time, I had some intoxication within me. And I think it reached the peak in my fourth year where I had a lot of breakdowns. There was a point in my fourth year that I remember I was standing at a balcony in my hostel and I was staring down that balcony. This was on the 5th floor and I was staring down, looking at the ground, just imagining what it would feel like to actually hit the ground. I still remember that. I can picture myself on the balcony looking down. Thankfully, I never actually went ahead and ever did anything to physically harm myself. But I do remember being in that space. Now today for me, talking about these issues is much easier than it was back then. I mean, at that time, even a lot of my close friends did not know what was going on with me. In hindsight, I think there were a lot of issues. There were a lot of things that I personally had to deal with. There was a lot of work that needed to be done back then, which I have done since, but it was all just pent up back then. But in this video, I want to talk to you about the part that architecture school played in all of this. Now, as I told you, when you're studying architecture, it is common practice to just not sleep for days and have a really bad diet. Add to that mix constant work pressure and maybe some teachers who are very unsympathetic. And of course, you're a young person, your hormones are raging, and that brings a whole set of issues with itself. Basically, it's not a recipe for a stable person. And I think it compounded over time, all of that restlessness. All that time, I feel like I treated my body and my mind like a trash bin, just putting anything in. And my fourth year is when it peaked, when I finally hit a point where it was just, I broke down. Now, to be completely forthcoming, it was never the work that got to me. I hear a lot of people complaining, a lot of work in architecture school and just so many assignments and just they don't want to do it. That was not the case with me. My projects, my designs were my babies. I used to work hard on them and be really possessive about them. It was actually work that kept me sane a lot of time. It was like I was focusing all of my chaotic mind energy just onto my work. I remember my best friend in the fourth year had come up to me once and said to me, if you can actually pull yourself together, you can easily just have the best thesis in the entire class. And he was right. I wasn't able to completely pull myself together back then, but I did have one of the best theses in the entire class. I'm not gonna say it was the best because I'm a modest person, so I'm just gonna say one of the best. But circling back, I just wanna say it was the work that kept me sane. So my fourth year was actually the lowest point. I was so down, so depressed. I knew something had to change. Now that is the time I got into spirituality. Not like I am in it today, I am much deeper in it today, but I think back then was the introduction to it. I used to listen to a show called Awakening with Brahma Kumaris every morning and before going to bed every night. And I think within 3 months' time, there was a big shift in my thought process, in the person I was. I remember I came to college after summer vacation and my friends could see there was something very different about me, and they actually pointed it out like, dude, you just feel different. I was just happy all the time after that. See, over time it faded. For me, it was a temporary solution because I wasn't able to sustain it. And so I could see myself sliding back into sadness. So when I sort of look back, you know how people remember their school and college days like amazing times. That was not the case with me. Those were, I think, the lowest times in my life. And my life has just gotten better as I have graduated from these environments. And a prime reason for that is because I have worked on myself. During and after college, I had moments of severe anxiety, panic attacks. I had lost all of my appetite. I could barely sleep. And every morning I woke up, it was just a sense of dread. I have been in those times. But like every time I went through a phase like that, I think I've come out stronger. And the reason behind that is just because I decided to. I will tell you the tools that can help you out, but before I even do that, I think if you're in that space yourself, one of the things that you really need to have a talk with yourself is there's nobody coming to save you. Nobody will parent you anymore. Nobody will look after you. It has to be you. And working on yourself is never easy, whether you're trying to go to the gym to get better physically, whether you're working on yourself to get better mentally. It just is never easy, and you really need to commit to the process. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long, so let's talk solutions. First and foremost, and I'm not even kidding, this is a proper necessity if you want to have a good and a balanced life, and that is good diet and exercise. Just eat well, eat fresh, eat fruits, eat a lot of salads. Your brain health, your mental health is directly connected to your gut health. I know there are other things that are causing your problems. There might be issues going on personally in your life. But to be honest, you are not giving your body and your mind the framework and the strength to actually get back up if you're on a poor diet, and also if you don't exercise. See, your body is made to move. The more you move it, the better it functions. So exercise is also a huge part of it. And add to that getting adequate sleep and just reducing the caffeine intake. I know it is not possible for a lot of people. They just start their day with caffeine. But if you're somebody suffering through anxiety, through the situation that I described, I highly advise cutting all caffeine out from your life. And that means cutting out tea, coffee, and all the caffeinated drinks, including cold drinks, Red Bull, all of that. Trust me, over time, it has the power to completely change your life. Now, most of these are working on your body. Let's talk about your mind. If you're going through something, if something is eating you up on the inside, it is good to talk about it, whether to your family, to your friends, to a counselor, to somebody, but just let it out. One advice I would give you though is once you do let it out, don't just keep repeating and sharing it with more and more people, because the more you keep repeating the thing that is eating you up, it'll just keep amplifying, especially within your mind. Share it and let it go. Don't dwell on things. Don't keep them with you even after you share it. Once you do, you've just released it. And now let it go. You genuinely have to force yourself, this is done. It has to go. Finally, the ultimate practice that can solve all of this is meditation. It is a slow acting practice. It compounds over time. It takes a lot of time to work properly, but it can truly transform your life. 2 years ago in 2020 was one of the lowest points again in my life. Again, I had a huge bout of panic attack, of anxiety attacks, all of that. And I think what got me out of that space And what has completely transformed my life since then is Inner Engineering by Isha Yoga Center. The program and the practices have completely changed me, have completely changed how I perceive the world, and have completely changed how I face any situation in front of me. So if you are open and you want to work on yourself, if you're in the place that I described that you were, I think this program can really help you out, so do check it out. And yeah, that was a small part of my story. There was much more to it. I just told you in brief. Maybe someday I'll make a full-length video. But you know what? One of the reasons I wanted to make this video is I wanted to hear from you guys. If you are facing any situations in your life and it feels overwhelming, comment down below, share it. You know what, if you're not even comfortable getting your name out there, just make a fake Gmail account, fake YouTube account, and just comment down below. Share whatever is on your mind. And everybody reading, let's be sympathetic to each other in the comments. Also, I don't just want this to be sad. Like, share the stories of your architecture school. The good, the bad, the ugly, the best. All of it. Of course, even my experience of architecture school was very layered. It wasn't all just sad and depressing. It was also just amazing times. And maybe I'll also share that down in the comments below as well. But do share your experience. What was architecture school like for you? Let's discuss these things down below and I will read all of the comments. And that was it, you guys. That was the video for this week. I hope you liked it. I know this was serious. Usually we do fun stuff on this channel. But you know what? This is an important topic that I did want to talk about, so I'm glad I did, and I really want you guys to participate as well. Anyway, to help this video reach a maximum number of people, do comment, do give it a thumbs up, do share this video, and as always, do subscribe to Blessedarch. I will see you soon with more of our regular content. Until then, bye-bye.